Oh hey, it's Barry, and of course, PlayStation 5 is one of the premier consoles to play third-party and AAA games on, running at the highest quality and the best frame rates. However, it does seem that when we think of PlayStation, we think of exclusives, and normally those exclusives are doing super well, but it does seem that today we have a game that Sony released that isn't really doing all that great, but it does seem that it is in some financial struggles. We're gonna figure it out, but before we do, I'd really appreciate it if you could just smash that like button, hit that subscribe bell, as it really helps out the channel, and any engagement really helps me out. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So today we're talking about a game that I really enjoy, a game that I really got back into after the PlayStation Plus released it under Extra, and of course we're talking about a game called Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. It does seem that the sales are struggling, a materia analysis, as IGN calls it, but we're trying to get to the bottom of this, as Final Fantasy VII Rebirth launched as a PlayStation 5 exclusive at the end of February and met with critical acclaim. IGN reviews of the game hit it a 9 out of 10, but since the game's launch, an ongoing debate has been emerged over the sales success or lack thereof. Square Enix has yet to announce a sales figure for Rebirth, the second game in the planned trilogy of remakes for the seminal Final Fantasy VII. This in itself is telling. The company has announced launch sales for recent Final Fantasy games like Final Fantasy XVI, a fellow PS5 exclusive, had sold over 3 million copies during its first week on sale. Going back further, Square Enix announced Final Fantasy VII Remake shifted 3.5 million copies in 3 days when it launched as a PS4 exclusive back in April 2020. Final Fantasy XV sold 5 million units in its first day, but that game launched in PS4, Xbox One in November 2016. Final Fantasy XV remains the fastest selling game in the history of the series. So far, Square Enix has said nothing about Rebirth sales, and we're now coming up 2 months since release. Based on the publisher's previous behavior around sales announcements, you'd expect Square Enix would have made an announcement by now if sales for Rebirth had been positive. The debate around the game's sale was given a shot in the arm when analyst Daniel Ahmad, director of research and insights at Nico Partners, tweeted to say that Rebirth was underperforming sales-wise and that it was telling about half of what Remake sold in the same time frame. Additionally, Ahmad said that looking like Rebirth had a weaker trail than Rebirth had. Prior to any release in subscription service such as PlayStation Plus, in the UK, GamesIndustry.biz head honcho Christopher Dring reported that Rebirth launch sales were down 34%, and this seems pretty bad as I really like Final Fantasy, the entire series. Is such a cool take on gaming, JRPG. Even when they did Final Fantasy 16 and left out the JRPG features, it was still pretty fun, pretty cool. It did have some slow moments, but I generally love Final Fantasy games as they always have some kind of fun element to it, and for them to be selling bad, I hope it doesn't hamper the amount of games that we get in the future. But I think that they really should have done something more original. I feel like it's not selling that well as it is Final Fantasy VII at the end of the day. I know the remake was basically a whole different game. The Rebirth now is an entirely new take, but I think if they worked on an entire new number, like if they dropped Final Fantasy 17 or some other remake, it might have made more of an impact. Of course, I really wouldn't want this giving credence to the idea that live service games perform way better than single player games, as I think we really need both of them in the ecosphere of games to actually have stuff to play and enjoy, as single player games are really fun, but live service does fill a void when you just want to hop on, have some quick fun and hop off, not really get invested in an entire story. We get both sides, but of course live service has been pretty bad for their gaming space, just in the way they do it. They really implement it in some of the worst ways possible, and make a whole lot of monetization choices over gameplay and fun aesthetic. I see that Blizzard is getting much better with that, as the Overwatch 2 Battle Pass has gotten much better since launch, and I really think it's much more of a value now. You get back currency. They brought out a new Mythics shop it's really cool. I think you should check it out if you checked out of Overwatch. But you guys gotta let me know what you think about all this down in the comments below. It's been Barry Games. I really appreciate you even listening to me for this long and rocking with me. Don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button if you enjoyed the content. Hit that dislike if you disliked. And as always, have a great day.